What's up, YouTube? Welcome or welcome back to the Saving Men's Lives Network, where all men and boys are welcome and our issues are treated with the respect that they deserve, where excellence is our goal and our enemies are called out by their names. A place to remind you that you are loved, that you do have intrinsic value, and to suggest that you do yourself no harm. Today, fellas, I want to come before you to do part 4 of an ongoing series entitled Keep It Real. All right, cool. But first, this episode, I'll be calling it the kiss of death. Because what's happened in the last 20 or so years is that major pharmaceutical companies have weaponized one of the most toxic poisons known to our species. And they've watered it down some, and they've repackaged it as a beauty aid. I'm talking about botulism, a bacteria that exists very often mostly in foods that haven't been sealed properly, especially canned foods where the seal at the factory didn't quite hold. This bacteria, when introduced to the body, can be fatal. Because what it does upon introduction to our system is it causes us to and have our muscles and other organs be paralyzed on contact. If treated quickly, the damage can be minimized. But if the person who's ingested it can't get help fast enough, it can be fatal. This bacteria has been watered down and repackaged as Botox. And this quote unquote medicine, at least as far as back in 2017, which are probably the most recent figures, brought in about $3.2 billion around the world. And that's a lot of money for vanity so amazingly high that people would literally inject poison into their faces to smooth away wrinkles, crow's feet, laugh lines, etc. When you add another $5 billion to dermal fillers like Restylane and Juvederm and the others, literally filling in the crevices on women's faces with these products to make it look like they aren't the age they actually are. That there's an entire industry out here worth nearly $8 billion. When you remind yourself that the entire ice cream industry in America is worth just over $7 billion, you got a pretty good idea what I'm talking about here. You need to remind yourselves, fellas, that these pharmaceutical grade, wrinkle fighting, lip plumping medications go for anywhere from $450 to almost $800 a pop. This stuff only lasts about 6 months to a year max. And the woman getting them has to go back and re-up this thing over and over and over again to keep the charade going. This stuff isn't even covered by insurance. This is important for you guys that are still out there on the dating scene. You're still swiping right. You're still hitting the bars, the clubs, etc. Because you want to, be a guy on the town. I get it. And for some of you guys, it's deeper than that. Because some of you actually want to be a dad one day. I respect it. I'm a father myself. So I understand the call coming to you from your biological imperative to procreate. But here's a challenge, fellas. In this world where very few of the women you're looking at look the way they actually appear, this is cheating on the sexual marketplace at among the highest level. Because here's the deal. What's happening with this Botox and lip plumper, which is where the title of this episode came from. You got women out here plumping their lips up because they maybe think they're too thin or what have you, and they get this stuff injected into themselves. And for a while, when it's not ridiculously done, Some of them have some self-control and they don't get too much of it and it looks decent. Okay, fine. But like any balloon, eventually they deflate and right back to the doctor's office she goes. How much longer is a woman you've connected yourself to going to play this game, hoping you don't catch on, hoping you don't find out? All very valid questions. Because at the end of the day, for you guys wanting kids, you're looking for a very specific thing. And it's not even about you. This is about your ancestry. You have inside of you, and every man does, warning triggers for the kind of woman you want to pair up with in that way. What we're looking for is youth, which of course is an indicator of fertility. This is huge because a woman who's too old could possibly ruin your chance of being a father if she's perpetrating like she's younger than she is with all these pharmaceutical treatments to her face. See, wrinkles and gray hair to an extent are all ancient indicators that this woman is too old to procreate with. Even medical science backs this up. A woman at age 34 to 35 is viewed by medical science as being geriatric in terms of getting pregnant. That means that her risk factors go through the roof. You run the risk of things like birth defects and like autism and things like Down syndrome, other developmental problems, because the womb simply can't do what it's supposed to do at its highest functioning levels because she's waited too long. But if she's dyeing her hair, like in episode 1, and if she's plumping this crap into her face, making her skin look smoother than it actually should, warning you to stay away, you might pair up with this woman. Maybe she's cool, good personality, okay. But there is no such thing as Botox for the womb, fellas. There is no way to cheat biology in that way. Even the women who freeze their eggs can't be guaranteed that once they unfreeze them, they'll take properly. This is where super expensive treatments called internal in vitro fertilization come from, and there is no guarantee. Several tens of thousands of dollars. To anyone who knows someone who's gone through the process, they can tell you all about it. It's a 50-50 shot. Tens of thousands of dollars. Cars, basically. And you might get a kid out of the deal. The warning signs were always there for a reason, fellas. Wrinkles on her face, crow's feet all the way back to her ears were a warning sign for you. Keep your sacred seeds away from this woman. She may not be able to carry your child to full term. And if she does carry the child to full term, it may come out with a whole host of problems you could have easily avoided by choosing a different woman a decade younger than she. My advice to you fellas is this. For those of you still out there in the dating market, still out there trying to make a love connection, still trying to be a dad for the very first time, you need to ask these women you meet that you're so crazy about, how old are you? I don't care if she gets offended, because she's going to ask you, what do you do for a living? Which is basically a repackaged version of how much money do you make a year? And therefore, based upon your job description, what's your earning potential? She's going to ask you that question with a straight face. She's going to ask you how tall you are. She's going to ask you whether you drive. She's going to ask you where you live. These are all indicators of your ability to provide. Okay, fine. Men know our traditional role has been a provider, aka a protector. So you should have just as much leeway to ask her, how much do you weigh, for instance? And more importantly, have you ever had Botox? Do you currently use Juvederm in your lips or Restylane? Do you use these products? Because if she does, my friends, unless she's just an extremely vain 20-something-year-old, if she's using these products, she's trying to cheat you and every other man who comes across her at her sexual marketplace value. She's trying to value herself far higher than she actually is. And she will be a danger to you. Because if she's lying to you about something that fundamental, she'll lie about anything else. Keep it real. All right, cool. But first, show us how it's done, ladies. Go 6 to 8 months without your treatments. Let that crap you injected in your face, which would kill you in the other instance, let it wear off. Put the Clairol and the Nice and Easy down. Let's see that hair like it's supposed to be, so I can know and my guys can know if you are a safe genetic bet. Are you a safe bet to share and incubate my sacred seed into a brand new life? Again, just for you guys who are trying to accomplish that. Now, for you guys who aren't trying to have kids, you guys can do what you want. You guys can go date these women that are past their prime and deteriorating quickly. You can do that if that's what you choose to do. If you're casually dating, you're not looking for anything serious, then hey, a lot of these women, their choices are drying up. And if you're a young fly guy, you're paying them attention, they love attention. They can't get enough of it. So if that's the move, then you handle your business the best way you know how. My advice to you, however, is be careful, because in the event that one of your, gotta be careful. YouTube is very, very restrictive on what we can say before they get mad and strike us down. But if one of your boys, let's say that, if one of your boys slips past the goalie, you better be careful, because you're in for a rough ride. And if you aren't mentally prepared to raise an autistic child, or if you don't have the finances to deal with a kid who has the challenges that come with having Down syndrome or any other developmental or perhaps even physical deformities upon birth, because their mother's womb was simply a ticking time bomb waiting to go off, then please protect yourselves. Condoms are cheap. 20 years of child support, when rounded to the nearest, is far more expensive by comparison. Anyway, that's my time, fellas. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. Leave a comment down below. I want to hear what you guys think. And share this video with the man or boy who you think could benefit from what it is that we do here. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth will set him free. Till next time, fellas, it's the Saving Men's Lives Network. Plenty more to come.